All right, so this is going to be my punter rankings for the 2025 NFL season. This is the last of my positional ranking videos. I'm not doing defense because I just simply don't really know enough about that to rank them properly. But yeah, let's get started here. I'm starting off at number 37. So I wanted to have a minimum of 10 punts this season before I ranked anybody, so that's what I got here. You got Jack Browning from the Bucks. He was our third punter this season that they used. He is a rookie, but he didn't do very good. Only 42-yard punt average. Not great there. Number 36, you got Michael Palardy for the Cardinals. He was their second punter after their first punter got injured, and he wasn't very good for them in his 4 games that he played. Only a 43-yard average. Along of 54. There's not a whole lot of really good punters in this league, so he's probably not a top, again, like I said, not a top 32 punter, but he's a guy that can, I guess, step in there if he needs to and be serviceable, I guess. Number 35, you got Trenton Gill. He was the second punter for the Bucks. He got cut because he was pretty bad. 43-yard punt average. Not very good, right? He did get a lot of his punts within the 20-yard line, so that's solid. But again, his yard for punt is just not very good. And number 34, you got Bradley Pinion for the Atlanta Falcons. He had a 47-yard punt average, which is actually pretty solid. His long was 65. That's decent. Right? He's one of these guys that's actually a started punter and was a starter all season, and he was okay, but again, not too spectacular. But again, there's not a whole lot of disparity between the punters in the league. Number 33, you got Pat O'Donnell for the Niners. He was their second punter this year after their first punter got injured. 45 average, but he got a third of his punt was inside the 20-yard line with a very small touchback percentage of only 4.2, which is the 10th best in the league. So that's really good. Obviously, you don't want touchbacks. You'd rather get the ball inside the 20-yard line, and he did that. 32, you got Thomas Morstead for the Jets. He had a 47-yard average. He did have 11% touchback percentage, which is not very good. But he did have the third longest punt in the league this year at 75 yards. So that was, pretty solid there. Number 31, you got Johnny Hekker for the Carolina Panthers. So he had a 46-yard punt average, pretty low touchback percentage of only 4.1, tied for 9th in the league. So that does kind of help him quite a bit. His touchback and in the 20, percentages are pretty good. So even though his punt average isn't amazing, those averages are good, which is really a lot of what you're looking for from these punters. Number 30, you got Jordan Stout for the Ravens, 46-yard punt average. He did have 11% touchback percentage, which isn't great, but a 40% of inside the 20, which is really good. And he had a long punt of 70 yards, which is solid, there as well. Number 29, you got Daniel Whelan. So he had a 46-yard average, not amazing, but a pretty good touchdown to, inside the 20 percentages there. And it had a long punt of 6, of the 6th longest punt in the league at 74, which is pretty good there. Number 8, you got Jake Camarda. He was for the first punter for the Bucks, and he got cut when he was not doing very good. Just for them to, subsequently sign 2 other punters that did worse than he did. So, the Bucks need to figure out their punting situation for next season. And honestly, just going back to Jake Camarda would probably be their best bet if they can't find anybody, outside of that. But he had a 45-yard punt average, not great, but he didn't have a single touchback all year, but he did only have 13 punts. He had a really good inside the 20 percentage there. 27, you got Jamie Gillen for the New York Giants. He was their first punter, and he got injured. He had a 44-yard average, isn't amazing, but his touchback percentage tied for the 4th best in the league. His in the 20 percentage was 48%, tied for the 8th best in the league. So he did really good in that aspect this season. Then you got Braden Mann of the Eagles. He had a 49-yard punt average, pretty good. The 13% touchback percentage is certainly pretty high. So you don't want to be high in that category. Number 25, you got Matt Araiza for the Chiefs. So he had about a 49-yard punt average, but his touchback percentage at 15% is really high. Obviously that's it's not ideal because you don't want touchbacks. You want to inside the 20 because it obviously benefits your team more. I did have a 72-yard punt this year, which was the 9th longest in the league, so that's decent. But again, his yards per punt were pretty good, but his touchback percentage definitely hurts him quite a bit. You got Jake Bailey from the Dolphins. He had a 47-yard punt average. Pretty good percentages there as well. And he had a long of 64. So he didn't have any crazy long punts this year, but he was pretty average in that aspect. Number 23, you got Corliss Waitman for the Steelers, 46-yard punt average. Really good percentages there for him, and he had a long punt of 71 yards. Number 22, we got J.K. Scott from the Los Angeles Chargers, a 47-yard punt average. Pretty solid percentages there as well. And he did, have a long punt of 67 yards, which is pretty solid as well. Number 21, you got Riley Dixon for the Broncos, 47-yard average. Really good percentages there. 43% inside the 20-yard line is really good. Yeah. Number 20, you got Sam Martin for the Bills, 47-yard punt average. Pretty good percentages as far as inside the 20. His touchdown percentage at 9% is a little bit high, but he's still, is pretty solid for them this season. I know I'm kind of just saying a lot of the same stuff for these punters, but there's really not a whole lot to there's not a whole lot of details to dive into talking about them. Number 19 is Matthew Hayball for the Saints. Really good percentages here. First inside the 20 at almost 55%. Seventh in touchback percentage at 4%. He doesn't only have a 44-yard punt average. That's not great, but his percentages are really good, so you'll kind of take that. Number 18 is Ryan Wright for the Vikings, 48% inside the 20, which is tied for 8th. Again, only a 47-yard punt average isn't amazing, but when he's getting most of them inside the 20, it's really good look. Number 17, Michael Dixon for the Seahawks, 49-yard punt average, tied for 7th in the league. That's pretty good. He does have quite a bit of touchbacks, which is not great, but he still does have a good amount of inside the 20 there as well. Number 16, Matt Hack for the Giants. He was their second punter after the first one got injured, and I do believe he was better than the first punter. So, maybe they roll with Matt going into next year. We'll see. But he had a 47-yard punt average, pretty good percentages there as well. He only had one touchback in his 21 punts that he did. Number 15 is Mitch Wishnowsky for the Niners. He was their first punter this year before he got injured. He was doing pretty good. Only 45-yard punt average, not great, but he was tied in the best. He had 0, touchbacks in his 22 punts. That's really good. And half of his punts were inside the 20-yard line, which is also obviously really good as well. Number 14, Ryan Stonehouse for the Titans. He was really good as far as his yards per punt, 50.6, really good there, third in the league. Had a 75-yard punt, which is tied for third in the league. His percentages are okay. They're not anything too great. He also did have 2 blocked punts though, which actually does help him because obviously usually your punt getting blocked is not on your punter themselves, so that would actually help his averages if he didn't have those couple of blocked punts. Number 13 is Ryan Rako for the Bengals. He was a rookie this year, and he was actually really good. 49 yards per punt, 10th in the league. He had an 80-yard punt, which was second in the league. He had the 10th highest inside the 20, percentage in the league. Pretty good. They're certainly really good for a rookie punter. Number 12 is Tress Way for the Commanders. He had 47-yard average, tied for 7th with only a 4% touchback percentage, and pretty good inside the 20 percentage there as well. Number 11 is going to be Ian Evans for the Rams. 46-yard average, not amazing, but his percentages are really good. Tied for 4th with touchback at 3.6. Second and inside the 20 at almost 55%. Really good numbers there. Number 10 is Bryce Baringer for the New England Patriots. About 50 yards a punt, which is 4th in the league. But his percentages, he had an 11% touchback percentage, which is pretty high. But it's inside the 20 is also pretty solid as well. Number 9 is Brian Anger for the Cowboys. He had 49-yard average, solid touchback percentage there. Inside the 20 isn't amazing, but it's certainly it's all right there. He only had a long of 62, so he wasn't really having any crazy long punts. He was just pretty consistently around that 49-yard average. Number 8 is Torrey Taylor for the Bears. He's a rookie punter. He was one of the more famous punters just because of what. He was like a 4th-round draft pick, and Caleb Williams texted him saying, "You're not going to punt too much here." And then he had 82 punts this season, which I believe was the most out of any punter. So, but he did pretty good when he was out there, right? 48 yards per punt, pretty good percentages there, a long of 68. Only 4 touchbacks and 82 punts is really, really a good sign, especially for a rookie. Number 7 is A. Cole for the years. Second in yards per punt at almost 51. His touchback percentage is really high at 12%. Inside the 20s is solid there at 42. He did have a couple blocked punts, which I mentioned earlier. That would, just help his averages there as well. So pretty good season for him for sure. Number 6 is Rigoberto Sanchez for the Indianapolis Colts. 5th in yards per punt at almost 50. His percentages are pretty good over there. Only 6% touchback and almost 40% inside the 20. Number 5 is going to be Corey Bojorquez for the Cleveland Browns. Ninth in yards per punt at 49.3. He had the longest punt this year of 84, so that's really good. Touchdown percentage at 8, maybe a little bit high, but not horrible. And then his inside the 20 at 40% is really good. Number 4 is going to be Tommy Townsend for the Houston Texans. He had about 48 yards per punt with a 69 nice long punt average. 51% inside the 20. That's really good. Third in the league and inside the 20. So that's obviously, pretty good stat there. Next up is Jack Fox from the Lions. He had the best yard per punt average at 51, 7th inside the 20 at 49, and he was had a maybe a little bit high touchback percentage at about 9%, but still a really good year, obviously, for Jack Fox. Number 2 is Blake Gillikin. He was the first punter for the Cardinals before he got injured. Averaged 50 yards a punt, tied for 5th in the league. 3rd in touchback percentage at only 2.6, and 4th and inside the 20 at 50%. So really good numbers all around here for Blake Gillikin. And number 1 is going to be Logan Cook from the Jaguars. So he had about 49 yards per punt, which is really good. Tied for 7th, 8th in the longest. He had a 50% inside the 20 percentage, and only 4% touchback. So again, if he had the yards per punt are going to be very close for a lot of guys. If he had 1 more yard per punt, he would have been number 2 in the league. And his percentages here are also really, really well. So yeah, that's going to be it for that. You guys can look at this simple view if you really want to just, again, refresh your memory, take a picture or whatever to kind of just save them all here as one in one frame. But that is going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back. I don't know what the future looks like for my NFL videos that are going to come out this year, if I will have much more. But I will have NBA videos still coming out, so make sure to watch out for those.